I'm here at our new lawn species demonstration plot at the Backyard Farmer Turf Garden on East Campus. And in front of me is Zoysia Grass. This is the grass I'm sure if you're a regular viewer, you know that Rock hates. And so why does Rock hate this grass, and why would you want to consider planting that grass? We've never even covered Zoysia Grass in the history of Backyard Farmer, and so we thought, you know, let's talk about it this year and understand why Rock doesn't like it and where it can actually be useful in the Nebraska landscape. So Zoysia grass is, Zoysia is the genus. There's different species of Zoysia grass. It is a warm season grass like buffalo grass, and so that it's going to want to grow in the summertime. And then with that first hard frost in September or October, it's going to go dormant. And then it won't green up until, you know, May, typically in Nebraska. When it does grow, it will grow very vigorously, and it has both rhizomes, which are stems in the ground in the soil, and stolons, which are stems on the surface, that help it grow and fill in very aggressively. Being a warm season grass, an advantage is it uses much less water than our cool season grasses like Kentucky bluegrass and turf type tall fescue. It also doesn't get a ton of diseases, although it can get some certain pest issues. And so from a low impact perspective, it has some advantages. One thing you might see this grass advertised as, you don't have to mow it very often. And that is true in the sense that when it's dormant, you won't have to mow, and so it might shorten your season a little bit in the spring and the fall. But when it's hot out, it actually can grow very vigorously, and to the point, it's growing very vigorously right now. And so we have to be on top of normal mowing. So it's not a low maintenance grass from that perspective. One of the issues with this grass is that it has terrible cold tolerance. Maybe not as bad as something that you'd find in Florida, but in Nebraska with our tough winters, it can get too cold and it can actually be lethal. And generally what happens is it kills maybe not all of the grass, but parts of the grass. And then we get other weeds that come in, bluegrass, tall fescue, and we have a hard time, you know, controlling for either the Zoysia grass or for the bluegrass. And so that's really limited its use in Nebraska. We now have herbicides, however, that can selectively control either the cool season grasses or the warm season grasses. A new one called Pilex can be used to actually control this grass because it is aggressive and it wants to creep, and it might creep into your neighbor's cool season lawns, and they might not like that very much. So there is some new technology out there. Being a warm season grass, we'd want to establish this grass like buffalo grass late May, early June. You don't want to establish it in the fall. Other things to keep in mind with this grass are that you know, it's still going to need some fertilizer to get it going, but after that it may not need as much fertilizer as your typical lawn, and majority of that fertilizer wants to go down when it's growing, which is in the middle of the summer. So kind of in conclusion, you know, this is a grass we might want to consider to the far extreme south and southeastern parts of Nebraska, and it could be a good alternative if we're trying to reduce our water use in our landscape.